Hey guys, this is yet another video. This one's before TNA, in TNA, and after TNA. This time, Johnny Impact, the shaman of sexy, the guru of greatness. Before he was in TNA, he was one of the greatest performers in WWE at his time. At his time, he was one of the best performers. He's like the undercard guy not undercard, mid-card guy, like upper mid-card guy. It's him and Shelton Benjamin. You're questioning, and Matt Hardy, him and Shelton Benjamin and Matt Hardy, that you're left questioning as to why these three did not get to the main event level. These three did not get world heavyweight titles, and obviously the only answer that can be given to that is they had so much star power at the time, which is what we've heard many times, but there's no other logical reason. If you look at the quality of John Morrison, Johnny Impact, you have a look at the quality of Shelton Benjamin, you have a look at the quality of Matt Hardy, and you're wondering, you're scratching your head apart from that reason. Johnny Impact, the master. John Morrison, WWE, the master of the Starship Pain, 1/3 of Eminem, Joey Mercury, Johnny Nitro, Melina. Story says that Johnny Nitro said this was the name that was given to him by the WWE, and because he liked it because it was nitro, like high octane, everything like that, or something like that. And, explosive. And he's an explosive performer. Explosive personality. Not explosive as in quick to anger, but very expressive. Very John Morrison, The Palace of Wisdom, all that type of thing. A member of the Dirt Sheet with the Miz. Also, one of the matches that I remember for him most is where he really put over Jeff Hardy, and it's a real example of his greatness, because I know Jeff Hardy was a great guy, great performer, but this was for the Intercontinental title, and at the time, I don't know how many times, but as far as I can remember, Jeff Hardy had already won the Intercontinental title 2 or 3 times. And so when he won that match, the way he won it and the style and everything, the way that John Morrison's character was portrayed, and the way that he was able to, Melina as a ring valet, and how great he made Jeff look, as well as Jeff making him look, even though that Jeff had won it 2 or 3 times before, when he won that Intercontinental title, it seemed like a big deal. So that actually, in hindsight, is a tribute and a applauding and a great acknowledgement and a great example of how good John Morrison was. John Morrison was, when the storyline said that he had enough of creative, and he went to take his real name, which is John Morrison. He's still in WWE at this stage. He was in WWE, get this, for about, from my remembrance, it was about 6 years. ECW champion. ECW was like the show that they brought them onto. It was like the NXT of today. They brought them onto that, except for it was different. It was ECW, not NXT. NXT's got different makeup, but it was that level. You know what I mean? It was like when they brought stars in, if they really thought that, because they saw throughout the indies that he had a great experience, he'd go to SmackDown or maybe even Raw. Because there were certain years where Raw was treated as the second brand. So whatever the second brand is, that's where they'd go. But if they think this guy's really great and they've only seen a few matches of us on the indie scenes or heard noises, then they'll put him on ECW. But so they had 3 titles on ECW, the biggest one being the ECW Championship. John Morrison won that a couple of times. And he was given the Intercontinental Championship. He was a part of one of the most underrated tag teams in WWE history, in my opinion. I was going to say they're great, but then sometimes you think tag teams are great only because they didn't really get pushed. But then if they got pushed, maybe some other team didn't. As to why you think they're great or something, But no, in comparison to the Hardys and the Dudleys and the Edge and Christian, the Miz and John Morrison was not quite as good as Eminem, in my opinion, looking back, because I hated that tag team only because their braggadocious ways, but that's all right. You grow to appreciate them in the end. But that tag team, in comparison to those three, in their time where they had just come in, I'd say the world's greatest tag team and them would have been the two great tag teams that had been introduced in the Ruthless Aggression era, alongside the three that I just mentioned from the Attitude era. But those three are just that much better. So yeah, they won. They were given the tag team championships a few times. He was sort of showman, braggadocious guy. I like him. Looking back, I liked them. I liked him looking back. At the time, I thought he was a overconfident prick only because they cheated. But and when you grow up and you fully accept the entertainment, like it's entertainment when you're a teenager and you're in your early 20s, but still there's so much invested into you because you're watching the full episodes every week and you're young with all that energy, and so you get into it hard out. Get a bit older, you're just watching the highlights and you've seen a hell of a lot more, and yeah. But I look back and I am so glad they had that character. They had that tag team. Then he went to TNA. I didn't really follow, so it was me looking back at his career when I did watch a few matches from him in TNA. Because by the time I started watching him in TNA, it was either he was just coming to an end and I was just watching a little bit of highlights, and once he'd gone to Lucha Underground, because here in New Zealand, on normal TV we get nothing of wrestling, but on cable TV we have the WWE, and we used to have TNA. Now I don't think it's on there because now it's changed to Impact, but we have access to YouTube. So in TNA, not too sure, not too much, but I know that he was a TNA's champion and he was a much more intense character, although he still had that shaman of sexy thing going on because of his dress. I only saw I've probably seen 10 or so, maybe a bit more full matches of his in TNA, and maybe about 10 or so full promos, maybe a bit more. So his singles run, I think they gave him more of a break in TNA, which was then known as Impact by the time he was in there. So I think that he got the recognition and he got the titles that he deserved when he was in TNA. And in WWE, I reckon that he was always on the cusp of being at the top, but so was there was always about 4 or 5 others as well, and half of them ended up getting to the top and breaking through that, being close, and he was the other 3 that couldn't quite do it either, because creation said, oh, not our cup of tea, which is their call to make, or they said, or the crowds just knew that these other 3 would do better. I don't know. But I do think he had a better run and impact for himself, but I've always going to remember him as the guy who was a team member of Eminem and the ECW World Champion and the WWE Intercontinental Champion, and tag team champions with Eminem, and I think he did. Yes, he did win it with the Miz. So this is the John Morrison that I remember, only because that was the time when I was watching it weekly, full shows. So I pray and I hope that the man, whether he's playing an extension of himself or something else, but the man who was playing the character of Johnny Impact, the man who was playing the character of John Morrison in WWE, and it has gone back again because I saw some highlights right recently where John Morrison, went back in the Miz, was there. So yeah, oh cool. Well, I hope he's living a blessed life, and I hope he's enjoying himself, and I hope they all are. All right, guys, this is Daniel Mohi, who is the creator of Swagmaster Sway, an extra extension of 3 characteristics that I have: my confidence, fun-loving party side, and also the creator of Jack Keduru, another 3 sides of me, dark side. See you later. I'm going to do another recording tonight, which will be another WWE versus AEW one, and it's going to be the New Day versus the Young Bucks. See you.